Welcome to today's special discussion on the future of AI-powered compliance. And in an era of rapidly evolving digital communications and increasing regulatory scrutiny, businesses are under more pressure than ever before to ensure compliance, especially when it comes to voice and messaging data. So joining me today to unpack this critical topic are Kim Crawford Goodman, CEO of Smarsh, and Ryan Kahan, the CEO and co-founder of CallCabinet. Kim, Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Rob.
Thank you for having us, Rob.
Good to see you both. Let's start with the big picture. Kim, we've seen a rapid increase in regulatory enforcement worldwide, especially around digital communications and voice data. Kim, from your perspective, why is AI-powered voice compliance becoming such a critical priority for businesses today?
Well, a couple things, Rob. First of all, regulators and compliance officials have figured out that communications data, whether it's digital or whether it's voice, is one of the best ways to actually make sure the system is safe, to make sure that there are safeguards. One of the best ways to look for misconduct or look for problems is to actually see it in what have people said to each other? What have colleagues said to each other? How have customers and professionals interacted? This data is very, very valuable across many things, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but it's very valuable for regulation and compliance. So we see, yes, a growing amount of requirements. And what we see is institutions have to evolve. They have to evolve their technology and their capabilities to deal with that and yet still stay efficient. The good news is we now have AI tools that make all of this, frankly, much more effective. We've had AI tools for a long time. We at Smarsh are the leader in communications compliance and applying AI capabilities to surveillance for financial services. We've had what I call AI 1.0 for several years now in the machine learning area. Now, of course, we have AI 2.0 and beyond with Gen AI, et cetera. So you have a high need in industry and society to have the right compliance, to have the right regulation, to have the right oversight. And now you have great technology tools that enable you to do that by looking at the communications data. And that's why we at Smarsh, along with CallCabinet, who are combined now, are really wonderful partners to the industry because we are bringing the best technologies to enable them to take advantage of AI in the compliance space.
And Ryan, CallCabinet has been a leader in this space for quite a long time. And how have you seen AI transform voice compliance capabilities?
So we come at AI from a traditionally different angle than Smarsh. So Smarsh is looking, using AI on the regulatory compliance side. For us, it's always been about the customer journey. So Rob, as you're aware, our business, started from when we started, 7, 8, 9 years ago, we were looking at agent evaluation. So we provided tools for customers to say, hey, I'm recording 100 calls. I need 2% of those calls to be listened to by a human or a supervisor. And then I need to be able to grade and score those calls. And there was a very manual process. You're only looking at 2% of calls. You've got a human component, which sort of overlays what that looks like or any biases of that information. It then migrated over the last 3-4 years to where we started converting all of the calls, from audio into text and getting things like sentiment analysis out of the calls and automating that process to a certain extent. With AI and natural learning, we've gone even further, which now we're really understanding the context of those calls, understanding not just about what words were said in a call, but actually what it means. So to give you an example, if I called you and I said to you, you were Rob, the contact center agent, and I started off my call saying, hey, Rob, how's your day going? Everything's wonderful here in, sunny Boca Raton. And at the end of the call, I'm like, I hate you, Rob, and I put down the phone. That's one call. If the call's the other way around and I start the call saying, hey, Rob, I hate you guys. You are the worst company in the world. And at the end of the call, I'm saying, thank you so much. This, you really helped me. This was, awesome. Same words, two very different meanings to the call. So AI helps us to understand that, helps us to bring real understanding to the executive management of our customers about what's happening with their customer their customer base, with the, what's happening in their business, which they don't really normally have a touch on. And it's all about getting value from that data. To Kim's point, customers don't mind paying for things, especially when it gives them real value or real return. And you're taking something from a regulatory compliance standpoint or compliance standpoint in our world, and AI has helped us really turn that cost center into something that's profitable, something that really returns something to the customer's bottom line, which has been a great journey for us as a company. So bringing these two parts together, the way Smarsh looking at it on the one end, us on the other, I'm really excited to see how that all transforms and how we continue to bring value to our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of bottom line, I mean, recent reports show over $4 billion in regulatory fines related to non-compliance with voice and digital communications retention laws. I mean, that's a massive number. Ryan, what are the biggest mistakes businesses are making, and how can AI help them to stay ahead of these risks?
Well, I think on the regulatory compliance side, Kim may be a little bit better suited to answering that question. On the recording side, a lot of customers don't really understand what compliance means as far as storing and evaluating the actual calls. So a lot of things that our customers are looking for is, sort of touching on the Smarsh side is, are we informing customers that the calls are being recorded? In a lot of states, especially in the US, there is a requirement for both parties to be aware that a call is being recorded. You cannot just say, well, we know it's being recorded, so therefore you have to just accept it. So historically, customers were at a risk because they would not know whether their agents or their contact center people were actually telling their customers that the calls were being recorded. AI helps us break down those barriers. We can now evaluate, instead of 2% of the calls being evaluated manually, we can evaluate 100% of the calls at scale. And be able to answer those questions for customers on a really quick and efficient manner.
Yeah, Kim, what role does Smarsh play in helping businesses avoid costly compliance penalties?
Yeah, Smarsh is the leader in the communication compliance space, and we work with clients from the very smallest to the very largest to help them protect their enterprise from problems and misconduct, which also naturally helps them fulfill their compliance requirements. We see two major mistakes that people make. One is they do not actually capture all the communications that they need to capture. Sometimes it's new technologies, like WhatsApp, for example, was the source of a number of fines over the last few years. New technologies that people were using to communicate that institutions weren't capturing. Voice is another example that voice is increasing in the requirements of it being captured and analyzed. And Gen AI is another very interesting area that as institutions start speaking with each other and with clients, utilizing bots and utilizing Gen AI, they're still going to be responsible for that communication. So the first mistake we see people making is they don't capture everything they need to. And at Smarsh, we help our clients extensively because we work with them to capture anything they might need to. And now that we've acquired CallCabinet, we'll be capturing any voice capabilities they need to, because CallCabinet has a very extensive voice capability. The second mistake that we see people make is that they're not analyzing the data most effectively to find all the areas of misconduct. They end up with far too many false positives. They end up spending too much time and resource chasing down things that were never misconduct to begin with. And this is the power of AI and what is so special about AI. We've been at Smarsh for years applying our conduct solutions in order to do surveillance to find misconduct. Those solutions have all kinds of ML and AI capabilities that we apply at scale that allows people to, once they've captured everything, really look for the problems and meet all of their compliance requirements.
That's great. And Ryan, anything else to add there from an AI capabilities point of view that CallCabinet brings to the table?
No, I think we, both Smarsh and CallCabinet are just, using very similar type tools, just coming at it from a completely different end customer or use case requirement. And I think that's what makes this so exciting. is to see how our teams can, sort of work together to create one product that brings all of this together.
And Rob, if I could add, what you're seeing in this conversation is part of the excitement of AI with communications data. Communications data is important, and AI, when you apply it to it, can be used for many different things. And you see a couple use cases listening to me and Ryan, but there will be, over the next few years, many more use cases to come.
Yeah. And, Smarsh's acquisition of CallCabinet is set to make a big impact across multiple industries here. Kim, which sectors will benefit the most from this combined technology, do you think?
Well, first and foremost at the front of the line is the financial services industry. They have the most oversight, and therefore they've built up the most capability, systems, internal departments. And I tell our clients that they're fortunate that it's their chief compliance officers who take care of this data, because they also then can put all the right privacy around it and all the right governance around it. So financial services, because the infrastructure that they have is at the front of the line. However, very close behind that is almost any regulated industry. Look at utilities, where you need to have a clear record of what really happened. We see this very starkly in place. We just had terrible fires, for example, in Los Angeles. And the record of what really happened at the utility company is going to be very important in that investigation. So we see, healthcare, utilities, government, any regulated industry. However, we also are seeing that as we move forward with technology, this data is so powerful that you could imagine many industries beyond it, especially major companies that have a lot to protect for themselves and their customers, could put these technologies to use. So we're very excited to see what will come in the next several years.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ryan, any other industries to add there to the list, or, especially, taking advantage of AI-powered voice compliance?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot more in the territories that we deal with. So if you look at the US, obviously financial regulation is a big deal. Rob, as you know, the UK, South Africa, Australia have a much broader requirement for companies to be compliant, especially with how they record calls or having to record calls. It doesn't only stay in one industry. So we're excited to bring what Smarsh offers around it. And ultimately, we're in a growing compliance environment. Some countries are behind others. We bring together a global coverage to this compliance, type market. And from an industry perspective, we see everything from, healthcare to retail to financial services, all requiring the information, because coming back to the point, AI just brings so much value to the C-suite at our customers to really understand where their compliance risks are, where their customer journeys are leading them, when their customers are unhappy or not happy. Things like, I use the example on a regular basis where if you had an airline that made a change to their loyalty program, right, it would be great for the CEO of that airline to understand the impact. What was the impact across the contact center? What was the impact across the business? What are people saying about this? Has that sort of died down? Was it a knee-jerk reaction and now all of a sudden everyone's happy again? Or are customers still really complaining, and do we need to revisit the policy changes? Now, that's a simple question, which historically was almost impossible to answer. You would ask a manager in a contact center to give you his feeling, but you wouldn't really be able to dive down deep and at the click of a finger get an answer or be able to interrogate data at scale. So one of the things that we have coming out we've got a couple of major releases scheduled of our software in the next couple of months. And one of the major things is the ability to ask questions of the data, to ask that question from a customer experience point of view of just tell me about what's happening in my business. Tell me how many times this was mentioned or that was mentioned. So it's exciting. It's fascinating to see where it's come. It's fascinating to see where it goes. I look forward to the future.
I would add to Ryan's comment that the technologies from Smarsh-CallCabinet enable our clients to see this instantly. So you don't have to wait for something to, get into social and to gain steam externally. You can actually see instantly the discussions happening, the emails coming, the text messages coming, and you can find patterns in all of that.
Yeah, highly valuable. Well, let's look into the future for a moment. The regulatory landscape, AI and digital communications compliance are all evolving really fast, as we know. Kim, where do you see the market heading in the next 3 to 5 years, let's say?
Yes, the market is going to evolve and frankly expand very rapidly in the next 3 to 5 years. The first thing that will continue to happen is the way people communicate will continue to explode, whether it's different voice channels that people have access to and use, or even new digital channels. We've seen an explosion of that in the last few years, and that explosion is just gonna continue to be enabled by technology. The second thing that's going to happen is our ability to, we already can capture that data. We can already hold that data in a scalable way with solutions like Smarsh and CallCabinet that are native to the public cloud. But what is going to really explode is our use of AI and Gen AI in order to evaluate that data and use that evaluation of the data for the good of our clients, their customers, and frankly, society overall. And what we're looking for today, we look for things today like misconduct, like insider trading, collusion, our ability to actually not just find those things, bad behavior, but to find all kinds of insights and signals from the data as people communicate more and more is going to rapidly expand. We'll be able to find cultural things inside institutions as it relates to how people are relating to each other, how people are engaged, not just with each other, but with their company, etc. We'll be able to find opportunities for institutions with their clients because we'll be able to see the nature of the communication between the client and the institution. And which is very, a crucial element of why Smarsh and CallCabinet have come together, we're going to see that even as these communications technologies explode, we can bring them back all into one and apply AI to all of them consistently because we can capture across many, many, many different things. And what looks like digital communications like an email versus voice communication to an AI engine is going to look like the same thing. And we believe that regulators will see it that way as well.
Yeah, and I'm really personally excited about the impact to employee experience and customer experience. I think equally that's as you mentioned, employee engagement and that kind of thing. There's so many big opportunities there. But Ryan, what do you think will define the next generation of compliance technology?
I think that it's all just a natural progression from where we are. I think bringing all of the, using AI to continue to evaluate, as Kim mentioned, all of the different channels of communication, including things like we haven't really touched on today, but video, which, as you know, CallCabinet does, and a couple of other, elements, is going to be, absolutely huge for customers. And the exciting thing is just, once again, I'm reiterating what Kim has said, is bringing it all in one place and having the ability to run our models over data that comes from all of these different environments, as opposed to doing it piecemeal, really is going to help us get our customers a global view of what's happening in their businesses. And I've been saying for quite some time to our team is I want to strive to continue to find ways to bring value to our customers. Call recording historically has not been something that brings value. It's been something that in regulatory compliance industries has been something that's a must-have or a need to have that people don't really have a choice. So for us, it's just another tool using AI and natural learning to really, or machine learning to really drive that value for customers going forward. And I just think that's going to accelerate to the point that it's going to be an indispensable tool for both Smarsh and CallCabinet's customers.
Yeah, endless opportunities. Well, Kim, Ryan, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
Thank you for your time, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. AI-powered compliance is becoming a critical necessity, and it's clear that Smarsh and CallCabinet are leading the charge in this transformation. So for those watching, if you want to learn more about how AI and voice intelligence can help protect your business, visit smarsh.com. And don't forget to like and share and even subscribe for more industry insights. I'm Rob Scott from UC Today. Thanks for watching.